it's so yeah, my audio
We
waves are tiny as hell.
we could make it work. We were just
Yeah,
talking about how the Excalibur that Paul just performed at doesn't give out the sword, and how stupid that is because the
yeah.
sword is like the sword.
Yeah, it's so they gave a reason, I guess, because this is the first because there was rumors that they weren't going to do it this year. And then this year, they came around to the end and they said, yeah, we're not doing the swords because last year, I guess, maybe it was last year or the year before, someone got hurt and like had to go to the ER because they cut themselves or something on the sword, so they can't do the sword anymore. So I'm just like, it's always fucking one dude or one person just ruining it for everybody else. So it's
In the
annoying.
middle in the middle of the competition, just go, I'm gonna resign since I can't get the sword.
Yeah, I'm only here for the sword. I'm not here for anything else. Um,
Yeah, not
it
trying
was
to nationally qualify or anything. No, I'm just here for the sword.
Yeah. Free sword. It costed me way more to come here than to buy the actual sword, but that's all I want is the free sword.
Did it? I mean, I
Um,
thought it was like $1.50 for entry.
it's like 115 or something per class. So I mean, it's not terrible, but and then if you take into account driving and hotel, I mean, I probably spent like $600 to actually hit this show, something like that.
Okay.
Not to mention food, supplements, stuff like that, leading up to the show. Just the actual like competing in the actual show, um, was about that. Um, so yeah, it can be a decent amount of money, just to compete in a show.
Yeah,
But
but that is the
that's
grind.
yeah, it is what it is. It's I mean the first show I did was about the same price wise because I also had to get my NPC card, which lasts a year, so I didn't have to pay for that for this show. But I also had to pay for a hotel for this show, so that
How far was it?
was a good chunk. It was like 3 hours, 3.5 hours in
Oh
that
yeah,
ballpark. Yeah, it just depends
yeah.
on
You don't want to
traffic,
have
but I
to
think
drive that.
yeah, exactly. Because like you have the tanning the night before, so my tanning was at like 7. Check in for the show was at 6, so I like checked in at like 6:15, sat around for a half hour, got spray tan done, and then the next morning my tin was again at 6:30. So to like drive there, drive back, and then drive back there again in the morning, you know,
Yeah.
like that just isn't practical. Um, so, especially when you have the tan on you, you just want to lay there. You just don't want to do anything because you don't want to fuck up your tan, you know? Um,
Was the weigh-in
so,
the day before too?
yeah. So the day before it was 6 to 7 o'clock. Normally it's like, from what I've seen, it's like 5 to 7 or something like that. Like they give a couple hours to be sure, especially with the tanning. But this time it was 6 to 7, which ended up being fine because I think they worked with the tanning people to do that because tanning stopped like the last tanning session was for women stopped at 6. So like the last one out was like 6:30 out of the women's tanning sessions, and then it came guys and we started at 7. That was as soon as we started. And
Yeah.
I think I was like 7:15. So I ended up getting in like 20 minutes early. Just because they had the spot, you know. Um Geez, fucking
Is
gonna yawn a million times. But yeah, so it's
well, I
like
was
six
gonna
to
say
seven. hmm
when you're at the when you're all doing the tanning, are you guys trying to hide the physiques, or is this a point where you're like going either oh shit or oh yeah?
It's it's tough because it's like you could have a completely different physique the next morning, so it's like
Yeah.
you can't really judge it based off of tanning. And plus, like you still have the second tanning session the morning of, and you can still like because I got my tanning done and then had a meal after, you know, and like so you can show up and look completely different than what you did at the tanning session. Um, and like the night before, I dropped like over 2 pounds between the
Yeah.
first tanning session and the second tanning session. So it's like you can't like yeah, you can kind of get an idea who is going to look good on stage and who won't, but then you never really fully know for sure. So it's just like I try to ignore it, but I also try to look my best to like psych people out. So it's all just part of the game, I guess.
You go from tanning session 1 to Rich be on his 8-hour arm workout and then come in absolutely destroyed the following day.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't
you
sleep.
gotta
You just
you'd
you
have to
work
I'd
out
have
for
to
the
take like
entire time.
I'd have to take like 12 hours to do that arm session because you can't break a sweat after you got your tanning. You can't sweat, so I'd have to take even longer so that I make sure I'm not sweating. I'd have to take 3 times as many protein shakes.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a bitch trying not to sweat because like I slept in just for the hotel's sake. I slept in a sweatshirt and sweatpants because I didn't feel like bringing my own sheets and shit. Some people
Yeah.
do, but like if I had my wife, I would, just because it wouldn't be stripping the bed, that'd be a bitch, or making it really, it'd be making it the next morning with like fresh bronzer. Like I'm trying not to like get shit on their sheets. So
Yeah.
I just slept in a sweatpants and sweatshirt, and that was what was easiest. So um you're trying not to move because like you're like kind of on like weirdly sticky, not really sticky, but it's like this weird rough texture. And then like you smell like tanning spray, and you just can't sweat. So like I turned up the because I when I got my hotel it was cold as shit, so I turned it up to like 74 my hotel, and it took for like it was like 6 hours later it still felt like pretty cold, so I thought it was fine. But then once I actually like went to sleep, I woke up a half hour after I fell asleep and it was like hot. And I was like, nope, 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 nope. So I like turned it way down and just stripped naked. And I'm like, I'm not trying to like
Yep.
ruin my tan. So I cooled down for a minute, put everything back on, then went back to bed. Um, but it like woke me up because I'm like, I'm not supposed to feel hot right now. That's the one thing I can't feel. So yeah, you got to be on top of it.
You got to
But
keep
it's
that
weird.
at like 50 degrees.
Yeah, I think I turned it down to like 68, 69 or something, but like it was such a small hotel room, like that's fucking like cold as shit. Like
Yeah.
68 in my apartment is a very different temperature than 68 in the hotel room. So I turned it way down, and just like tried to stay as cool as I could. But I mean, the week leading up to the show, it's just a bitch to sleep. My mind was racing about the show the whole week.
I was gonna say
And
start from like a week. So go walk through the whole
yeah,
prep process.
yeah. So the
And
last
obviously for
uh,
anybody who doesn't know, you go through prep the week before a show, and Paul just did that. So that's what we're
yeah,
gonna get a little deep dive for.
so I put like overall 12 weeks into the show as far as like cutting and all of that goes. But the week before the show is called peak week, because the goal is to focus on your peak, which your peak is your best look, and your peak is supposed to be timed for your show. That's the goal. Is like you want to look your best for your show. So the week prior to the show, last time we recorded a session, so last episode was start of peak week. God damn. I don't know why I yawn so much when we record. Um, so
That's why you got to get some tea.
yeah, I got coffee right here. I just yawned for some reason. I'm not even tired. But so the last time you guys heard from us was the start of peak week. So basically what that looked like um was it Sunday or Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Is 2.5 gallons of water, and then every day till Friday, I drop it down by by quarter of a gallon. So Friday, I have 1 full gallon of water. But during that, I take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C on Monday, and then increase it by 1,000 milligrams up until Friday. So I'm taking 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C on Friday, and then Saturday, every meal I have, I take vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams of it. So that ended up being essentially 2 meals, breakfast and like between prejudging and finals. So that's 2 meals, so 2,000 milligrams on Saturday. So that's the water portion of it. My training changed to Sunday was legs, where typically Thursday is legs. So Sunday was legs, and then Monday is chest, tris, and delts. Tuesday is back and buys, and then Wednesday is like an upper body pump. Um, so you don't want to go too hard on really any of those days. It's more just focusing on pump, getting full, stuff like that, especially that Wednesday. And then, doing cardio in between all of that. So like Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, I did my normal 45 minutes fasted, 45 minutes prior to meal 6. Wednesdays 30 minutes fasted, and then no prior to meal 6. On Thursday, Fridays, no training, no cardio. So that felt amazing to be done training, to be done cardio. Felt really good. Even now, it still feels good to be doing just 25 minutes fasted as part of rebound. So that's what that looked like. Same meal plan up until Wednesday that I was on at the time, which wasn't too many carbs. A couple rice cakes before training, a little bit of rice after training, and then sweet potato for meal 3. So really, it was like kind of focused on my workout. And then uh, Thursday, Friday, we increased the carbs and decreased the protein. So I was taking about half the protein, but like triple the carbs. So pretty much every meal I had some form of carbs. So that was Thursday, Friday. So that was filling up on carbs. That was the goal, was to fill up. Then Friday night, when I was at the hotel, got some Five Guys. It was like the only place open. Charleston is cool, but like when I was told to get a burger and fries, and I was looking around, it was like either the burger was like literally a patty and a bun, or I paid like $50 for the burger. Like there was no in between. So I just said fuck it. I drove 15 minutes away, grabbed Five Guys, and just came back and ate that. And I mean, you saw photos and shit, Christoph. Like that was the
and
best meal I've ever
and
fucking had in my life.
and everybody and you knows how I feel about Five Guys. So
Oh, I love Five Guys. It's so expensive, but it was so fucking worth it. And
that's in
like,
my
man,
like every week diet.
yeah, yeah. I just, man, it's just like the amount of dopamine in my system. Like that first bite, it was just like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I didn't realize how
Oh
like
yeah,
emotionless I've been the past 3 months until I had that Five Guys, and I was like, oh fuck. All my emotions came running back. It was like a waterfall of emotion. Just I didn't realize like how depleted I was, even with the carb up. Like I was just so depleted, and like you could see it in my face. I took a video. You could see my face. Like my death face was fully intact. I was shedding water like crazy. I was dropping weight like crazy. I was just so depleted, and like eating at the hotel was a bitch. Like it was all stressful because I had to make sure had all my meals, and like you think the bare minimum for a hotel is like a microwave and a fucking fridge, like a mini fridge. I didn't get either of those. I had to leave my food in my lunchbox, and I had to go up to like the common area to microwave my food. Like it was such a
yeah.
bitch, and I didn't think that was going to happen, so I didn't bring any plates or anything. So like it was just a bitch to make my meals. So, like that was stressful. And then like there's no chair, no table, nothing in my hotel. So I just put it on this like little side desk. Like it was like a like a bedside table, and I just bent over and ate it, and it was just so unbelievably good. I think I
I
got
was
some
gonna
like
say
onion on it.
probably even do like the cooler method and bring the roller out with you like you're going camping.
Yeah, I wish I had something like that. I would have used that. We do have. I mean, my lunchbox is pretty good, so it ended up being fine. But yeah, it was just stressful. And then so I had the burger and fries sent over after about a half hour of after I ate. I basically did push-ups until failure, and then sent photos to my coach, and he was just like, yeah, man. He's like, perfect. He's like, night and day. We just trying to fill up. And he was like, that burger and fries just changed your entire physique. So I just filled the fuck up off that burger and fries. And then took a couple dumps throughout the night, and then woke up, took my photos. Then was kind of flat, but that was kind of expected. Considering how depleted I was. So took my photos, took my weight, sent that over to coach, and he said, all right, go grab pancakes, eggs, and bacon. So that's what we did. I got some black coffee with it. We had to monitor water for the day, but black coffee was fine with my breakfast. And then pancakes, I got 2 pancakes, 2 pieces of bacon, and 2 eggs is what I got. And then I was able to have sugar-free syrup with my pancakes, and holy shit, was that good. Um,
Mm.
yeah, unfortunately I couldn't really focus on my food because I was wearing my sweatshirt and sweatpants, but I was all tanned up. So like a couple people were asking me like, "Oh, are you doing like some sort of like bodybuilding show or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm eating right now to go do that." And whatever. And then like, so they started asking me questions. So I couldn't even really like, all I wanted to do was just watch TV on my phone and enjoy these pancakes. But people kept talking to me. So like that was
You had
annoying, but
celebrity
it is what it is.
status.
Yeah, they were curious, so they were asking. Um, so yeah, so I got to enjoy all that, and then went to the show, and basically like just found a spot after the athletes meeting because they have an athletes meeting right before the show starts. I found a spot to chill. I put down like this neck pillow thing and just like laid down, and that was it. I just laid there for like 2 hours until I was ready to go on the stage, and then went on stage, posed, did comparisons, came off stage, went and got some sushi with my wife and my in-laws, and then we went shopping around local stores, and then went back, laid down for a little while before getting back on stage at like 4:15, 4:30. Did finals, got rewarded, and then we bounced after that. So that was kind of the day of the show. But yeah, it was a lot. It's addicting. Like I miss prep still. Like I still like I miss how regimented it was and how like focused I was that week of. And as hard as it was, like the night before and the day of the show and stuff like that, it's super exciting. When you're getting your spray tan, it's super exciting. The spray tan in the morning sucks because it was 6:30. I barely got any sleep. It's like the sun is just rising, and you go in and they spray this cold ass hitting spray on you, and then you sit in front of these cold ass fans, and you're like just in your underwear. It's just like this is not what I want to do at 6:30 in the morning. But got to get done.
I gotta get you doing my cold plunges in the morning. You'd be just fine then.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not just for a couple minutes either. Like the bronzer was thankfully not that long. It was only like 15, 20 minutes of sitting there in cold ass air and getting the fans blowing on me. But the day before, it took like 30, 40 minutes just because they needed two coats. But that's just me being pale as fuck. So I think the plan now is probably next month I'm going to get a membership at like a Planet Fitness or something and go tanning and consistently tan, maybe 2 times a week, 2, 3 times a week, and then like increase the frequency when we pick a show. You know, like when I start prep, I'm going to increase the frequency so that way when I get to the show, I have a much better base tan than I did, with the previous show. Granted, I did exfoliate with like body scrubs and stuff like that for plenty of time or plenty amount of time prior to the show, like because we had Victory Classic and then we had Excalibur picked out. So for the 6 weeks between Victory and Excalibur, I was constantly shaving and I was constantly exfoliating, and because of that, my body just held on to the spray tan like a motherfucker. Like we're
Yeah.
now a week from the show and I'm still tan. It's kind of spotty. It's not like 100%, but um, it took a while for the spray tan to really start like coming off. And it's still slowly coming off. So I really held on to it. It was just simply getting the right color, and that's the problem with being pale. So
Yeah, and also doing, the I'm gonna call it unnatural tanning at like a Planet Fitness or something. You just gotta watch when you turn up the intensity on that, like and start doing like 3, 4 times a week when you're getting ready for a
yeah,
show because that's when you can really mess yourself up.
yeah, I was doing for a week prior to the show. So from like 12 days out to like 20 days out in that range roughly. I was going to a tanning place and tanning for a week, and we kept it pretty low just to be sure I wasn't burning. Um, but it's just to go to a place like that is super expensive. To get what I'd get at like a Planet Fitness, I'd have to pay like double. So I'm just like, yeah, I'll just go to a Planet Fitness and just like keep the intensity pretty low or like keep the time frame I'm in there pretty low, and just kind of go like relatively frequently, and then like increase the either the amount of time I'm in there or the number of times I go, depending on how my skin reacts to it, and do that for prep. And then like a couple weeks out from the show, I'll probably pull it. I'll probably stop doing it. I just really want to get like a solid base tan where even if I stop going for 2 weeks, my color doesn't change much. That's my goal. Because going for that week that I did, I got tan as fuck. Not gonna lie, like I got super dark, but then it like mostly went away by the time I actually hit the show because it wasn't like a deep base tan. It was just more so
Yeah.
superficial on the top of my skin. So even though it was dark, by the time I hit the show, I was already back to pretty much being pale. But so I'm just gonna try to keep going, just to keep consistent because I know I can tan. I just gotta do it. Um, Especially with this winter and all of that. I think it's this winter coming up, I think it's going to feel good to tan, going in cold from the winter and then getting in the heat, of the lamps. Like the lamps can get really hot, so that's probably going to feel good. So,
And make sure when you go to Planet Fitness to tan, you also make sure to go get a nice good workout in while you're there, because
perfect.
it's the best place to work out.
It's the perfect gym. There's nothing I would ever change about a Planet Fitness. It's all perfect.
I'm surprised you didn't hit Planet Fitness 4 times while you're up here.
Yeah,
all 4 days.
I missed it. I miss lifting at a Planet Fitness.
Gardner PF.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm good. But yeah, it was a good time. I love competing. It was super fun. We didn't get the results I wanted to. I just wasn't what the judges were looking for that day. We did get a bit washed out, carbing up too much. I think the pancakes is really what did it, because we look good prior to the pancakes. Like I look probably my best prior to the pancakes. After the tan, prior to the pancakes. So I think it was just the pancakes. We just carved up a little bit too much with that. We probably could have done one, or just simply had gotten like a protein meal, with like a slide of hash browns or something. But it is what it is, and I didn't place terribly. I got third in novice and fifth in open, so I didn't place terribly. But we are also
that's
learning
first call out both times.
Yeah, we're also learning too about how my body responds to prep. Victory Classic, it was hard to really judge like how my body responds to carb up phase and stuff like that, because we weren't really like that shredded. Like I kind of had abs, like I had some abs, but that was about it. But like this show, like we really learned like how my body responds to carbing up and how my body responds to like true like we did the same water cut, but because I think I had a lot less fat, like we really saw like how much water really was sitting in my fat and sitting in my muscle cells. So I was dropping a few pounds a day, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from the water alone. So it's like we really learned how my body responds to all of it. So now we can go into the next show more prepared and know like, okay, let's not carb up too much. Like let's take it easy the morning of. Let's do the same thing we did up until the morning of, and then we'll go from there. But is I think really what ruined the show for me was my solo when I came out for prejudging. My abs were washed out, but then getting to comparisons, they showed back up. So I think I just didn't have an ab pump, but then I got an ab pump while doing my solos. And then when I came back out for prejudging comparisons, like immediately my abs were there. Like it's weird because it's like I got my center stage shots. They're up on the NPC site. My abs were washed out, but then I see photos my wife took in the comparisons, and my abs were there. Like my abs, you could see all of them. So I think it's just it was just a matter of, for some reason, they just weren't showing up for the solos specifically. And also all the guys I was competing against, I was talking to the guy who actually won the overall, and he said he was 38. Basically every guy I was competing against was also competing in the 35 plus. So all of them were over 35, or most of them were. And then he said this is his 4th year competing. It was his 7th show he's ever competed in, and he's never come close to winning until now. He just got dialed in for this show. So that made me feel a little bit better, just because like it sucks losing. I'm super competitive, but it's also my 2nd show, and he was saying that he wishes that he was like where I am. He's just like, that's awesome. Like you're in a great spot. Like this is only your 2nd show. Like you got plenty of time.
And
So,
that's motivating.
and yeah, exactly. And he was complimenting my posing, because he wasn't the best men's physique poser, and he's like, I wish I had your posing. Like your posing's all dialed in. So like that was good. I definitely for sure had the best posing up there. Just seeing the prejudging and finals and all that. I mean, it was just like posing is more black and white than anything. Like, because it's literally about how you position your body. So it's like it's a lot more black and white than your overall look. So I think black and white wise, like I think I for sure had the best posing up there. It's just the reality of it. But at the end of the day, I wasn't what the judges were looking for. Coach saying based off the photos I sent him with prejudging and finals. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So based off prejudging and finals, the photos that I sent that my wife took, my father-in-law took, I had the best structure and proportions up there for sure. I just wasn't the leanest. So I think that's what they were going for, which is who was the leanest on stage ultimately. Then that's who they rewarded.
Yeah,
So
I can see what you mean about the abs. Like I've seen plenty of your pictures before to know where your abs are at.
yeah,
Um, so, but you definitely fill out your board shorts, which I know we
yeah,
talk about that all the time.
I was the only one who did that. Everybody else's board
Yeah,
shorts were baggy. Mine were stretched to fuck because of my legs.
and your back is always a good point of I don't even know what word I'm looking for, but then you also have just great charisma throughout all these pictures. So,
Yeah, that was the goal too, is to kind of have the stage presence. And like because I already did Classic, all the nerves were gone. I had no nerves going out on
yeah.
stage, no anxiety, nothing. I just went out there. I felt calm as hell and just did it. Like Victory Classic, I was shaking because I was so nervous. But then I got to learn what that's like and be in the spotlight for a second. So now going
And
into
for
Excalibur, I was fine.
well, I was gonna say for the victory, I mean, was your wife even there?
Yeah, yeah, she was there. My mom
Oh,
was there.
okay.
My in-laws
Well,
were there. Yeah,
oh, okay. Okay, I was
yeah,
gonna say if that was different because like I know they were all there for the Excalibur. I didn't know if they were there for the
yeah.
victory.
Yeah, my mom was actually at Victory and she wasn't at Excalibur. So there's more people there for me at Victory. But it was just my first show. So I think I was just more nervous and didn't 100% know what to expect. I've been to shows, but like I've never been on the stage. So um, now that, I hit Excalibur, I didn't really have any nerves stepping out on stage and I felt confident and I was smiling. There was one part I wasn't smiling. I think it was the comparisons in Novice originally. But then about 10 seconds in, I was like, wait, I got to smile. So I smiled again. But yeah, it's just my back, my waist held on to some of the carb up. That's my other problem, is that my like love handles hold on to a lot of fat. So that kind of hurt a little bit. But like my back has always been lean. My arms and legs were lean. Like in my front pose, you'll see, like if you look at my teardrop, my left leg, you'll see like muscle striations. Like my legs were pretty diced, even after the show as well. So it was just a matter of, I think my midsection was washed out, and that's really like all that you need to lose a show. I mean, I know guys who I've seen guys get destroyed on stage just because their obliques were washed out. Like their abs look fine, but then their obliques connecting to like their lats get washed out and they lose because of that. Like happened to my
I was gonna
coach.
say the guy who won your class, his abs are kind of washed too. Like I
It
mean, his
depends. I got
obliques
to
have a
pull it
little
back
bit
up.
more definite. Maybe it's just the angle, but I definitely see kind. I mean, not, and he also looks, I mean, respectfully, a little older too.
It's
So you've got
Victory.
plenty of
Yeah,
time.
he was 38, so he's on the older side for um not that he's old, he's just on the older side for competing. Um so let me see. I'll pull up the show here. Um EF. Oh my gosh, seriously.
It's crazy how much bigger your chest is than the guy that placed beneath you in class.
Um oh yeah. Yeah, the
I mean, chest is
in
always your strong suit, but it's crazy to see that comparison. And even the guys who are like just above you, like the guy above you, it screams Gyno. The
yeah, see, so
one who
like
placed just above you.
yeah, I gotta pull that up. So the guy, so we did, yeah, novice B. What, in novice B or in open?
I'm looking at your class. Hold on. Where is it?
Oh, okay. I think it's
Class
both the same
C.
guy. Okay, open class C. Yeah, so novice, that guy, his posing was all right. The guy who just beat me in novice, his posing was all right. He had good shredded delts. Like he just was very skinny. He didn't have much muscle overall. He was just very very lean. Like you can't really tell in the solo photos, but like you put me next to him, and I was like twice his size.
Yeah.
He was very skinny. He just came in very lean. That's the thing he had going for him. So like that's the reason he beat me. His posing is just not there. Like if you look at the guy who beat me in novice, Donnie, his posing's just not there. Which sucks because if they based anything off of posing, like I probably would have won because so many guys posing was so fucking whack. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, looking at the guy who beat me in open, yeah, he was a classic competitor. That decided to so like you see his classic photos, not really his men's physique photos. You see his classic photos. For I don't maybe you can see his men's physique. Yeah, see his men's physique aren't there. So, oh wait, no, that's classic. Wait, where's there it is. Yeah, see, he doesn't have men's physique photos aren't posted, just because he did classic, so they posted the classic photos. But yeah, so he beat me. I think just out of sheer size. I think is all it is, just because he was a classic competitor. But like he, I think looking at his photos, I think the biggest thing with him that I notice now that I'm looking at his photos is that he was definitely like on the larger side at one point because it looks like he has some like leftover skin. Which I mean, if
Yeah.
that's true, then good for him. I mean, nothing but respect for that. But um, I also think that like leftover skin kind of almost in a way gives the illusion of more definition because it's weird because it's like if you're tight, your skin's completely tight, you'll see everything. But then when you have like a tiny bit of loose skin, it adds almost like more lines to your skin. So it almost makes you look like you're more striated than if you didn't have any loose skin. But like his yeah, see, I don't know. I just think that like personally, even just like my solo shots, which aren't even like that good. I'm very upset about my solo shots. Even just looking at my solo shots, I think that yeah, my abs are just washed out. But I just wish they had like the prejudging photos because I mean the comparisons. I wish they had the comparisons, um, because that would have made maybe they do. Let me see.
The guy,
Um,
the guy in the
yeah, they
men's
don't.
classic physique 45 plus masters division is an absolute unit.
The guy in classic physique 45
It's like
plus. You said.
he's the only one who was in that particular thing, and he's an absolute unit. His name's Patrick Narbiger or
Yeah,
Nibigar, something like that. Just absolute unit. That's that's so funny to see.
yeah, good for him. Yeah,
Like,
he
but
did.
that's what we talk about with like uh in the future when we have kids and just wanting to be the biggest dad there. Like that's him.
Yeah, yeah. Just what's interesting about oh he won classic. Okay, yeah. So what's interesting about the Masters guys is you see how guys truly look backstage. Like when you're backstage or in the dressing room where we were. Victory Classic was like a big like open area. It wasn't like a dressing room, but in this case, Excalibur is a dressing room. You truly see what these guys look like because on stage, like that's going to be essentially like their best look. Um, I just wore a sweatshirt and sweatpants on backstage. I didn't want anybody seeing how I looked. But like seeing the older guys, like on stage, they can hide it pretty well. But backstage, their guts extend a lot. Like they can't like
Yeah.
really pull a vacuum. And stepping backstage, their ab wall is very large typically underneath their actual ab insertions. And then they also have typically very large intestines because they've been alive longer. So their intestines have enlarged. So that's something you see backstage, which is the kind of the case for Patrick. He looks phenomenal on stage. Like he looks absolutely insane. But then when you see him backstage, it's like the age shows a little bit, but like at the same time, like I really hope I can look like him on stage when I'm his age,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
his age is. So it's just interesting to see the difference between backstage and on stage. But then the guy who won bodybuilding, men's bodybuilding, Tevin, whatever it is, he wore you would never have fucking guessed he competed men's open. Like he was sitting next to me on the athletes stage. I could have sworn he was gonna do men's physique. He like he probably got a crazy pump before stepping on stage, but like he didn't he didn't look massive. Like he wasn't massive. Like
Yeah.
he didn't look like a men's open competitor at all. Like I would have guessed maximum classic physique, but he didn't do classic. He ended up doing open, and he fucking won. Um, but yeah, it's interesting to see the guys with his posing is just way better than everybody else's too.
That's
He
what
had
I'm looking
solid.
through right now, and he's able to do all sorts of different poses. Like
Yeah, he's got solid ass posing.
flexibility is certainly there for him.
Yeah. That's the problem a lot of guys have. It's just shit posing. Yeah, he's got good posing. But yeah, so he good for him for winning. That's awesome. I don't really know him. I just saw him walking around and stuff. The guy who won Classic was, you can kind of tell, like when you saw him backstage. So many guys compete in Classic, it almost like lowers the standard in a way because so many guys want to compete in Classic now. You're getting guys who just started in the gym to guys who know what the hell they're doing Classic.
I was gonna say, looking at the classic physique and what I would probably be class C. That's the tallest one, right?
Yeah, chances are, I think. Let me pull up Class C here. Yeah, whatever the high. Yeah, so you would have been in Class C against Adrian. Adrian that guy was. I don't know him, but he seems so upset he didn't win an Open, or like overall. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I
it's
think.
surprising that he was able to pull that high of a placement. I mean, the tattoos, like we've talked about it, but you can certainly like the vascularity is a lot harder to see through the tattoos.
Yeah, it's especially because he has so many tattoos in his midsection and his chest. Like arms and legs aren't as big of a deal, but like having it in your torso like that really takes away from your physique. They don't care really as much anymore. Like if you just ignore the tattoos, you can pretty much see like everything you need to see. But you gotta take into account that sometimes they'll have unconscious bias. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, I understand his frustration for not winning overall, but at the same time, like I totally get why they gave the overall to the guy who won overall. Like it totally fucking makes sense. Like looking at the guy Joseph Rea, just like looking at his like front double, like his front, he could use some more size in his arms, and like his front double could use some work as far as posing goes, but like conditioning is night and day between him and the other guy who won
Yeah.
Class C. Let me see, Aaron Griggs. Yeah, Aaron
There's a
got
lot
last
of
in Classic. Not
there's a
surprised.
lot of gray hair on this stage.
Yeah, I told you. Like
So
look at like
you're
men's
ahead of the
physique.
game, brother.
Yeah, look at men's physique. Look at how many guys competed in Masters. Like because tons of the guys who
Well,
competed in Masters competed in other classes too.
that's what I was gonna say. Like the where was it? All the way up at super heavyweight and men's bodybuilding.
Yeah,
That's just a regular dude. Like look at it, that's just a regular dude up there.
where?
Go super heavyweight. It's the
Oh,
one dude,
Gary Fuller.
Gary.
Oh,
That's just a
okay,
regular
but
dude.
they're
That's
yeah, he's like 70 something though, I think. Like
yeah.
he's on the older side. So he's been around for a while, and he was saying something about like how I don't think it was him. I'd have to look for it. There was also a guy where he look at Garrett Young, the teenager. Yeah, I didn't even know he was competing. I don't mean
Who's
to be
that?
that guy. Okay, so the teenager who
True.
competed
No.
in Open,
Yeah.
no men's bodybuilding guy. So I didn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
know
I
he was
got it.
competing. I saw him sitting at the check-in. He didn't have a button or anything. Like you have like this like button that's your number. I didn't even think he was competing. He didn't. This is the problem with like bodybuilding sometimes is that like you have more muscle, you have less muscle than you think you do, and more fat than you think you do. And
Yeah.
I saw him sitting there, and I'm like, damn, this kid's young. I just like didn't think anything. I was just like, yeah, he's just a young kid, and he had his girlfriend there or something. He reminded me of my cousin who's like 13 or something. I was just like, yeah, this kid's young. And then I didn't even see like he didn't look like he was abnormally tan. Like it just looked like he went to Florida for a week. So like, oh, okay. And
I think he has
then I saw
braces.
him at the show. Yeah, does he?
I think he does.
Oh, he does. Holy shit, he does. And then I saw him at the show backstage, and I'm like, maybe he's like visiting someone. And then he fucking did. And then he did men's teenage open. I was like, oh, so he was competing this whole time. Interesting. I don't know how old he was, but it just goes to
And
show like
open
the
too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's men's bodybuilding. Yeah, it just goes to show though the big differences that you're gonna see on stage between people. And then also look at this fucking chump. I was so upset. So guy in let me see, is it class B? Yeah, so fucking okay, so go to men's physique and then go to Class B.
Men's.
Look at who got last.
Okay.
Fucking rightfully so.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a open competitor.
Oh, wait. Yeah, wait. This
Richard
is
Craig. I don't mean to be saying guys'
yeah.
names. Ignore the guys' names, guys. It's just so
Men's
that he
Why is he
knows who to
wearing?
look at.
Why is he wearing a
Because
speedo for men's physique?
well, he's not. They posted his men's open stage shots. They didn't post his men's physique stage shots. But
Okay.
if you look to the right, you can see men's physique, NPC Excalibur, men's physique 5th. You'll see that on the right, like contest history.
Yeah.
So he fucking put on board shorts. He had to borrow someone's board shorts. He didn't even come with board shorts. He registered. You have to register for all this, right? Like you can't just like show up the day of
Sure.
or like during the contest decide to do another division. You have to register like at least a week ahead or something like that, like at least a few days ahead. So he shows up, no board shorts, asks someone to borrow board shorts, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I got an extra pair. You take it on my bag, whatever." And then he like puts him on. He's like, all y'all are doing men's physique, and I'm just out here, men's open guy, put on board shorts, trying to, compete in men's physique. And he's like laughing about it. I'm like, dude, it's insulting. Granted, thank God they gave
Yeah.
him fucking last, but it's insulting because he's like making fun of men's physique, and then he goes out and steps on like, and I just like, there's this one time I still remember this. It was so fucking dumb. I was standing there pumping up with a resistance band. I'm like way out of the way too. Like I'm like looking in this mirror, and then I like turn to the side and I'm like pumping up and just like flexing everything. And then he's walking past me behind me and bumps into me. I'm like, I'm not even moving. Like I'm planted. And this dude bumps into me. Like it's like imagine like you're the only car on the highway and like somebody cuts you off. It's like, dude, there's really no reason for that. There was so much more room. So it's just
Yeah.
like he just definitely just felt like he definitely had ego issues.
Yeah, definitely thought he brought in a better package than he did.
Yeah, let me see. So he got first in men's masters 40 plus in bodybuilding,
Yeah, I see that.
but then he got second in heavyweight, and I think he registered for men's physique, so I don't know if he was like, but like he really wanted to hold on to like, oh, I'm bigger than everybody on men's physique, and it's like, yeah, because none of us fucking aimed for men's open, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what happened backstage, and there's so much like I only talked to the guy who won men's physique, that guy Lance. He was the only one I ended up talking to. But like there's so many people like Buddy. It was so cliquish. It was weird. Like a lot of these, I mean, granted, a lot of these guys who competed in Excalibur also competed in like the Tampa Pro or like the Tampa Pro Am. So like
So
there's a mhm.
all I'm gonna say is you go to men's bodybuilding middleweight and third placement.
Let me see,
I
men's
can be
bodybuilding.
I could beat that with my physique right now, not in prep or not doing anything. Like literally how I'm just sitting right now.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yep. Yep.
I don't mean
Oh,
to like pull anybody out, but
no,
that's
I get it. I get it. It's
yeah.
when there is I was getting texts from my wife and I was sitting down there and they were like my in-laws were saying that I'm bigger. I was bigger than like half the dudes on stage for men's bodybuilding. They're like there's like 5-6 guys that they called out in the beginning, like the teenage and then like the true novice guys. They're like you're bigger than all of them. She's like, "Why
Yeah.
aren't you on men's open stage?" I'm like, "I just don't compete in that." I was
Well, I
like, "But
wonder if at like the NPC level, you'd be able to at least get your foot in the door with that. Like, not if
oh, dude,
obviously like if that's not your end goal, but just based off of what we're seeing here, might as well.
yeah, I could totally step on stage for classic physique in NPC for sure. I don't know how well I do, but I could totally step on that stage.
Yeah,
Especially legs wise, I could totally hold my own legs wise. My arms would need more size. I would need more size overall, but like if I really wanted to next year, I could probably hold my own classic physique. And who knows? Maybe I will just out of the fun of it. Maybe I'll throw in like like a novice class or something like in classic and just like walk away with a dub out of default. Because there's one guy competing in novice class B in classic physique. So he like won by default. He wasn't competing against anybody.
Yeah,
So I could just win by default. I just be like, haha, I competed in classic.
and I won.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even compete in classic and I still brought it. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. But yeah, so for the next show, I don't know when it's going to be. We got an 8-week rebound right now. Um, so we're putting on as much size, keeping off as much fat as possible. I put on like 7 pounds since the show, but a lot of that is water. My vascularity ultimately almost feels like it's better now than ever, but I held on to a lot of water in my midsection. That's just where I store everything. So my abs are still there. They're just not as prominent as before, which is fine. I took my weigh-in photos this morning and I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. But also this past week has been like, as you're aware, I was up in Massachusetts, so it's been a lot, a lot of traveling, a lot less sleep than usual, sleeping on a couch versus a bed, so it's not as comfortable. And then
Yeah,
training and eating at very different times. So like this whole week is just kind of throwing me off. And then also like working at different times, so it's been a lot this week. But this week coming up, I think will really kind of tell where we're at. So I should be able to lose some weight. I got to get my fiber supplement again, just to help with digestion because I'm holding on to fucking everything that I'm taking in right now. So got to get the fiber supplement back in my system. Use that to help me out there. But yeah, so 8 weeks rebound. I'm thinking what's most likely going to happen is going to be a PCT after, which is post psychotherapy, 2 to 4 week post psychotherapy. Not sure what that's going to be, but doing that and then probably 4 to 6 weeks off cycle. Depending on where we're at, it's possible that we plan for like, let's say, like an April show, possibly. If not, then we'll do the same thing we did this year where we'll do like a blast bulk from like January to April. Blast isn't just like anabolics, it's just the term for anabolics usage. It's like a lean bulk, January to April, probably, or even sooner than that, and then getting into another prep for a show spring, summer next year. So I think either spring or summer next year is my next show, pretty much either way. So we'll see how that goes, but that's the plan as of right now.
yeah, and
But
just spend the whole off season just getting huge and then cutting back down and doing your thing.
yeah, we the goal is to just be in a much better conditioning place for this next show we end up hitting versus these previous two shows, just because I had to lose a lot of fat going into Victory Classic and also going into Excalibur, so we had to really push the envelope and really had to deplete me, especially going to Victory and then again into Excalibur. Excalibur's prep was arguably easy in comparison to Victory, and you talk to anybody, they'll tell you your first show is your hardest prep. They'll say the first show is the hardest by a long shot. It gets easier from there, and you'll see that too with like different competitors and all of that, where the leaner you get and the more shows you do, the less susceptible your body is to change. So it's like with off season, for instance, all like the pro competitors and shit, they'll get cheat meals twice a week because their body can afford it. They're at a lean
Yeah,
state. They're putting on size like crazy. Stuff like that. And then when you're in prep, like the more actual prep I do, the less cardio I have to do, and the more food I can eat because we're at a much better place conditioning wise for this. So for like this next show, if I were to start a 12-week prep right now, we would just do like barely a deficit. Like that's all we would really need. It's just like a tiny, tiny deficit for like 8 to 12 weeks, and then like hardly any cardio. Like probably just do what I'm doing now, like 25 minutes fasted every morning, 5 times a week. That's pretty much it. That's all I would need because really, once I shed this water, like if I shedded all the water I took on this past week, I'd only maybe be a pound over stage weight. So it's like we really wouldn't need to do much effort or put much effort in order to get lower fat. So like that's the goal, is to really just like keep conditioning pretty good and keep abs kind of year round now at this point. that's the goal, at least in my opinion. Like that's my goal. I want to keep abs year round. I want to be able to feel comfortable with a shirt off year round. And then at the same time, I also want prep to be easier. So like Excalibur was easier than Victory Classic by a long shot, but we also had to really push Excalibur as well. You know, the amount of anabolics I was taking, the amount of cardio I was doing, the lack of food for a couple weeks. Like there's a couple weeks there where really my main source of carbs was 2 rice cakes prior to my workout. But then you look at guys who stay pretty lean year round and then get into a prep and they're taking in, you know, 3 times the amount of carbs I am the entire prep. They just don't have to they don't have to lose as much fat. So they can really just do like a slight deficit the entire time and just really refine the overall look and really just nail the peak. So like that's the goal for right now. And that's the problem that I have when I see other guys competing and stuff is like a couple of my coaches' clients, like they didn't have to push it as hard. And it just sucks because it's like you had no idea, dude. You going into that show, you know, you're eating this or that and you didn't do any cardio and all of that. And it's like, it just sucks because the amount of effort I've had to put in just to lose to somebody who didn't put as much effort in. But again, it comes down to, that's the difference in everybody's bodies. You know, I started off pretty skinny fat with my coach and we put on a lot of muscle and a lot of weight, you know, so like, even though I was one of the bigger ones up there for the most part, I just wasn't the leanest. So now we just got to get the fat dialed in over time and lose it. And then my next show, I'm really truly aiming to overall win. I was aiming to overall win this show, and we definitely could have if we didn't just get washed out from the pancakes, which we didn't know was going to happen. Retrospect, you know, hindsight's 2020, and looking back, it's like, oh, I wish we didn't do that, but we didn't know that was going to happen. We thought that I was going to fill out more and look even fuller on stage, not washed out. So it is what it is. We just learned that lesson. So now we can carry that knowledge into the next show and do even better. But if we didn't wash out, it's very possible we could have won.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, with you having to work harder for especially prep than some of the other dudes, like that just teaches you to be tougher and to have the better discipline. And like when you get to the point where, like, let's say you're like that dude that we talked about who bumped into you and all of that, like when you get to that age and that like you're competing across different divisions too, like you're just not going to have that mentality because you have a different appreciation for it than anybody else. So if
Yeah.
anything, the tougher things that you have are better for you.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, I more so earn it than anything. It's not
Exactly.
something that's kind of given to me. Like some of these guys have really good genetics and it's just kind of given to them. But at the end of the day, you talk to any bodybuilder who's up there in the pro divisions and all of that, and they'll say that hard work beats talent 9 times out of 10. And that's kind of what I have to rely on just because I don't have the genetics necessarily to shed the fat. But I do, the one thing I will say is I do have the genetics to put on muscle and to be strong. Like the second I got carbs in my system, I'm like crushing weight in the gym. You know, I actually surprised myself with how much weight I was lifting in the gym. So it's like I have the ability to put on muscle and the ability to put on weight. It's just shedding it is a little more difficult for me. I can do it, which is good. I'm not like whatever they call mesomorphs, where it's like almost impossible to lose fat. But I'm not one of those. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of in the middle. I'm more so leaning towards like if you want to classify it as ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph, I'm more so like leaning. I think endomorph is like kind of in the middle. I'm like a little more endomorph in comparison to like mesomorph. So like I'm kind of in the middle, but like leaning towards putting on weight easier. But taking off fat, I can still do it, no problem. It's just I just have to put it, not really no problem. I just have to put in more effort to lose the fat itself while maintaining muscle. Uh, so that's my one problem. But some guys just are built to lose the weight, and some guys just have to really put in the effort to put on the size. You know, but for me, I have no problem putting on size. I have no problem putting on muscle. It's just simply doing it. You know, but
Yeah.
the show I got to earn.
I'm definitely caught between ecto and like a ecto endo like hybrid, just between the two, just because of how difficult it is to size up. But I am lean year round, so
Yeah, let me see. Let me just make sure I'm saying them right. I gotta look them up.
no, you have it right. It's ecto is when you're from the skinnier side, tougher to put on. Then endo is the middle. I think you were right on that.
Yeah, so actually, so I had it backwards. So ecto is the skinny, meso is the
Yeah,
middle, and endo is the large. So I'm like, I would say I'm like mesomorph, but then like 10% towards endomorph, where
yeah,
like I could put on like I'm more mesomorph than anything, but I put on a little bit of weight easier. But also like this is also just these are just body types. Like I'm just talking like I wouldn't say I necessarily have like any like I would say I have more of like a mesomorph body type, but like as far as weight putting on and weight taken off, that's how my body reacts. I would say, yeah, you probably lean more mesomorph with your body type, but putting on weight, you're more like an ectomorph. Like you have more difficulty
yeah,
putting on weight, and you haven't even really done like a cut yet. So we don't really know. Like you can get like tons of size, and then you get a cut, and you just fucking your fat just shrivels up, and you just like you
yeah,
don't even have to really try. You know, like we don't know quite yet until you do one, how your body's going to respond. But as far as what we can tell from your bulk, at least you're leaning more like your mesomorph leaning more ectomorph with putting on the weight, but body type more mesomorph. Ectomorphs are just like sticks, and then endomorphs are like square. Like as far as body type goes, ectomorphs are very skinny sticks. Endomorph is like very square, round bodies that are kind of on the chunkier side. So
yeah.
now I'm more mesomorph than I am endomorph. As a kid, I was more endomorphic. But again, this is a very large generalization. It's you can't really put
I
like
was gonna say that's three categories for all of men. So
yeah, exactly. You can even use it for women too. It's just a very large generalization. Um, you just gotta yeah. So I mean, it's not like it's not 100% for everybody. It's just one way to look at it, I guess. Um, Yeah, so I mean, you can even like so like women essentially have like so like you can use those for towards women too. But then this one's saying medical news today says that there's five for women: triangle, inverted triangle, rectangle, oval, and hourglass. But then men have ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. So I mean, it just I guess it just depends on how you look at it.
I was gonna say the ones you just listed for female are way more like detailed in what they're looking for too, and ours is like, yeah, you're one of three things.
It's almost like when you look at it, like they're almost opposite. So like mesomorphic, you have wider for women it's like wider hips, narrower shoulders, so you have like more so like an hourglass. But then men is the opposite, you have a narrow waist and wider shoulders, so it's like a V, so
Yeah,
but then endomorphic they're kind of describing as like an oval, and ectomorphic is more of like a rectangle. So like you're skinny, stick, straight, but then endomorphic is like your belly kind of protrudes a bit, no matter what you do. And some people are just like that. Some people just have like they store like I store a lot of my fat in my lower belly and hips, but like a lot of people just have like all of their fat in their belly entirely, so it looks like they have like a beer belly constantly, but they don't. It's just the way your body distributes it.
some people actually just do have the beer belly. So,
This is true. Some, especially in the South, you see way more beer
yep,
bellies down here than you do up north. This is true, and way more Confederate flags up north than you do down here. I saw so many more. I saw
yeah,
this guy. He had a front plate, and then above his plate was a Confederate flag. I'm like, that's I've already seen more plates in Massachusetts, or like more Confederate flags in Massachusetts in 4 days than I do like in a month down here.
yep.
I'm like, there's none. It's
And
weird. It's so weird.
it's this area too. It's the woods because we live in the woods up
Yeah,
here.
it's central and western Mass that has all of them. The closer you get to
Yep,
Boston, the less common it is.
yeah,
But yeah. So to add more to what the show was, it really sucks not being what the judges wanted. But at the end of the day, I do know that based off what my coach said and based off what other people said, that overall I brought the overall best package to the show. I just wasn't what they were looking for. And we'll talk about that later. Logan Franklin kind of fell victim to that as well this weekend. So like that makes me feel better in a way. Like it sucks for him, but it makes me feel better that like it can even happen to the pros. And so with the show, as much as it sucks to lose, I'm happy for the guys who win. I don't want anybody who's competing to feel the way that I do. So I know I can handle it emotionally. So I'm just happy for the guys who won, because the guy who won, very nice guy. his wife or girlfriend, whoever it is, she competes as well. She was talking about how she's won regional shows, but then she went to a national show and got dead last. She's like, the national shows are just a different stage. There's a different level of competition there. She said it's a lot of fun. It's very much fun competing in nationals. It's way more organized. It's way more streamlined. The competition's way harsher. The posing is way more dialed in. So national stage is a different stage, and then from there, pro stage is even bigger. But she was like 40 or something. She said she's been competing for like however long, and she finally got to the national stage and got wrecked. But she said she still loves competing in regionals and, as well, and wants to get back to the national stage. I think she ended up winning. I think she won. Let me see. Did she win? I don't think she won. I gotta look. I don't remember which. Let me see.
I was just gonna
I don't
say
know.
too, while you're looking for that, can you imagine how stressful a household is having two people in prep at the same time?
Oh, actually, you know what? Actually, it'd be less stressful, to be honest. Yeah, so she got second in Masters 35 plus is his girlfriend, wife, whoever that is. So I ended up chatting with her about it. But I would say it's less stressful because, I mean, yeah, the emotion side probably more stressful because you're kind of, especially at the level they were at and the shows that they were competing in, it's very much possible. I don't know. I'm not saying for sure. It's very much possible she was also on something as well. And two people in the same household being on shit would definitely not agree together. Like it definitely would not mesh well. You can
Yeah,
emotionally keep it under control. I could keep myself under control, but that could be stressful. But as far as the food goes and the training and all of that, it'd be a lot less stressful because if we just had the food in the house that the two of us eat as far as the prep goes, then we wouldn't cheat at all. Like there's no temptation, nothing like that. We'd both be like dialed in and motivated. So that would be the good part. But then the emotional stuff with like potentially what you're taking could be the issue. But
yeah.
yeah,
I
so to
just think of
add,
it on the just like I think of it on the side of how we talk about trend being the relationship killer and having like obviously
yeah,
not she's not going to be on trend, but like just the possibility for all the hormonal imbalance.
yeah, it's possible. It's not as I think the emotional side isn't as obvious for women as it is for men. Hard to say, but I think that it's not as bad for women. But I don't know. Who knows? I don't. We'll never experience that. I don't think Paige will ever be a competitor, so I don't think we'll ever experience it, and it's fine. Because I gotta like when I'm in prep, I'm focusing on myself and setting on that stage. So or stepping on that stage. So and I love it. So if she doesn't want to do it, that's totally fine. It's what I do for myself. But yeah, so to add more to what I was saying is that after the show, oh, she's a teenage competitor. Okay, I couldn't tell. Good for her. After the show, I got burger and fries at this fucking bomb ass place. It was they just serve burgers and fries, like different types of burgers, and they have like this gigantic hot dog my father in law got. It was a foot long. It was like literally like fucking 2 inches thick. It was sick, but they specialize in burgers and beer, so got a really good burger from there. Got some good fries, and then got Thousand Island dressing on my burger, which is awesome. And then we left, got some ice cream, which tasted amazing. I got honey butt ice cream, tasted amazing. Then we drove back. The next day, I ate whatever I wanted. Basically, I really only had like 3 actual meals. Kind of snacked here and there, but that felt amazing. I felt like shit, but it felt nice to eat what I wanted for the day. Um, and enjoy that because that's all that I needed pretty much to get kind of dialed back in from like being motivated. After that one day, I was just like, all right, I'm ready to get back at it. Eat the meals that I was eating before, all of that. So, just that little break is kind of all I need. And ideally, at this point, we're gonna over the next week, we gotta stick to the plan to kind of get the fat back down and the weight back down. But I'm hoping that over the next 8 weeks, we should be able to get a refeed in once a week by the sushi and burger, especially when we are, because like if we're gonna do a PCT and be off cycle for, that's probably gonna be like 2 months probably overall is probably what we'll do for PCT and being off cycle. To clean out, we'll probably get some blood work done, make sure everything's kind of back to normal, and then we'll get back on gear. But that 2 months right there is probably gonna be maintenance. So it might be like a slight deficit or like perfectly maintaining, and then probably maybe like a refeed here and there every week or every other week, and then the blast. I'm really praying to God I'm able to get a refeed in once a week, because it sucks. Like from April to August this year, besides the shows, I only got like one refeed, and that was my birthday. If you don't count the day of the show or the day after the show, uh, I only got really like that one refeed for my birthday. That's pretty much it. So like going 4 months, eating on plan, dialed in constantly, it becomes tiring. You get kind of burnt out, and
I was gonna
it's a
say
lot.
it's a big thing mentally, like just to be able to like even what I do where it's once a week, just being able on Saturdays going and getting that one meal that's way off plan. Like
Yeah,
mentally, it saves me so much stress because it can be super tiring eating the same thing over and over and over again, but just getting that one moment, and it's like I always do it after workout too, so I'm feeling good anyways, and then it's just like biting into it. It's like,
yeah, exactly. The biggest thing is that even that like yeah, of course I look forward to the sushi and the burger. It's it's more so like almost like a countdown in a way. It's like, all right, I'm like, it's Tuesday. In a few days, we'll have the burger and fry. And then it's Wednesday. All right, Saturday, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Thursday, come on, a couple days. Friday, come on, it's tomorrow. It's like it keeps me like motivated to keep going because I have that refeed. But when you have the same food over and over again, and food you don't really even enjoy that much, and on top of that, you pull even more and more and more out over time, it gets really burnt. You get really burnt out. Like the last couple weeks prior to the show for Excalibur, for me, food wise and really just mental health wise, was probably the hardest, because it wasn't the lack of food. It was more so like taking out artificial flavors. So then I couldn't have pre workout. I couldn't have energy drinks. I couldn't have gum. Nothing like that. It was just like water and some coffee with like my coffee, and that was pretty much it. Then the week prior to the show, we had to take out artificial sweeteners, and that sucked because all I could have is water, black coffee, like mustard, and my supplemented salt in there. Like that's literally it. Like I
yeah,
couldn't even have like I could even have, for a few weeks prior to the show, I couldn't even have seasonings that had salt in them because we had to supplement salt in precisely to match my electrolytes and shit, right? So like, which I mean, I'm back to the normal salt amount now as far as how much I'm supplementing in, so it's still a decent amount, but it sucks like not even be able to have seasonings with salt in it because every fucking seasoning has salt in it. Like you have to buy a
yeah.
seasoning that advertises no salt on it in order to get a seasoning with no salt. It's a fucking bitch. And on top of that, it just doesn't taste good. Like no seasonings with no like seasonings with no salt is basically like if you get like I have like a barbecue seasoning that's no salt. It's basically just straight paprika. That's like all it is. It's like it's just not that good, you know? And like you got
You
Mrs.
can make
Dash.
paprika work though. You can make
Yeah, you
just
can.
paprika work.
Yeah, like I'll put that on there and then I'll put a little bit of mustard and then I'll put my actual salt on there and it tastes fine, but it's just not as enjoyable. Like my favorite seasoning ever, the number one ingredient is salt. Like and like my two favorite seasonings, I love Old Bay on fish, love Old Bay, and then I love Kinder's barbecue blend on everything else. And both of those, the main ingredient is salt. Like that was so hard for me. And then um pulling out like the equal out of my coffee just ruined coffee for me because I like my coffee sweet. I don't put cream or anything in it, but I like it sweet. So pulling that out just fucking ruined coffee for me. I didn't even enjoy it really anymore. Uh
Ah, well, so
plus
you gotta get used to just true black coffee. That's where it's at.
see but here's the thing, like I can enjoy black coffee. Like what did I get? Like I have like so like I've had decaf Food Lion, just generic brand coffee, and that tastes good black. But then like I have like Death Wish as well, and that's not very good black. It's like
Ah,
paper thin.
I disagree, man.
See, I find it, if it was thicker, then yes, but it's paper thin. I'm literally just feel like I'm drinking water. with some black flavoring, like black coffee flavoring. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't have this
Well,
like
that's when you
thickness
scoop
to it.
more.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like when I have that decaf, it's got like a like you're drinking coffee, but like Death Wish, it's like I could taste the coffee and all of that, but it truly just I don't know how to explain it. There's no way to explain it. It just tastes paper thin. Like it tastes sharp. Like not okay,
Yeah.
not the flavor tastes sharp, the consistency tastes sharp. Where when I have like decaf, like the decaf Food Lion coffee, it tastes the consistency is more round. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the difference between like cold water and hot water. It's like when you have cold water, it feels more sharp, where hot water feels more round. And like that's kind of what it
Yeah,
ruined
I
it for
can
me.
get
I'm
that.
just like, yeah, I just feel like I'm just drinking straight like cold water, even though it's hot coffee. But that sucked. And then lack of gum really sucked. I didn't realize how much I chewed. Like the problem wasn't even necessarily chewing gum like at home. It was chewing gum in the gym. Like I'm always chewing gum in the gym. It's what keeps my mind busy. I'm fidgeting. I always fidget between sets, so it keeps me fidgeting. It's chewing my gum. That
Yeah.
keeps me going. And then taking that out really sucked. And then on top of that, we pulled Adderall out of my system a couple weeks prior to the Victory Classic. So like not having that in for like 2 months, like really just lowered my overall quality of life drastically.
I
And
was gonna say
like,
that's like the one thing that's actually prescribed to you.
yeah, it's a prescription. And he was like, I know it sucks, but trust me, like you really hold on to a lot of fat taking that, which we talked about before on the podcast. But he was like, yeah, trust me, like it'll really change everything for you. So I pulled it out, but like, man, my quality of life is fucking better on Adderall. Let me tell you,
Yeah, because
it
I mean
just
that's like the one thing that's actually supposed to be intaked in your system.
yeah. Yeah, and it's just the lack of dopamine sucks so bad. And that was also the other problem too, is like the caffeine and energy drinks isn't even necessarily for focus or anything. It's just so I have a baseline dopamine because I don't have any Adderall in my system. So I was drinking energy drinks and caffeine and all of that to feel better and to enjoy things in life. But then when we pulled energy drinks and then pulled the equal out of my coffee, made me not even want coffee anymore. And lack of energy drinks just like, fuck, I just don't feel like doing anything ever. So the last 2 weeks prior to a show just sucked. That sucked the most. But then like immediately after my show, was it after my show or that next morning? I think the first thing I did was I had coffee. I was like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah, and
It's a
even
sweetened
just that
coffee.
one cup can bring you back.
Yeah, and pulling out artificial flavors. Even then, I love flavored coffee. Like I have all these different flavored coffees that are like flavored beans, and like that sucked too because like I had to just drink regular coffee. Which I mean, I enjoy regular coffee, but I enjoy my flavored coffees more. So that was also hard too. I could get used to that if I still have my equal, but then we pulled equal, and I was like, "Fuck, this sucks."
Well, the artificial sweetener, or yeah, the artificial sweetener pull, also takes out. You know, like you have your Diet Coke or zero sugar Coke. I have like my Diet Dr Peppers and whatnot. Like that pulls that too,
Yeah.
which is tough.
Yes,
And even pre
I
workouts.
forgot about that. Yeah, so the pre-workouts, I could live with no pre-workout. I could live with it. That's okay. It's do I get a lot better pump? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I can go train with some basic caffeine in my system. And if I can have my salt prior to training, I'm cool. I'll get a good pump. I'll be fine. But also pulling out those sodas sucks so bad too, because I'd have like a soda a day, just relaxing watching TV, and like that sucked. But
Yeah,
I do know this now. How I got through this show was the week prior to the show, I couldn't have any artificial sweeteners or flavors. But what I did get was like those like seltzer waters, like
yep,
Coca-Cola has a brand. I think I got Good and Gather as well, which is a Target brand. So like even though there's not a ton of flavor in there, that helps too. Because they're all naturally flavored. There's no sweeteners in them or nothing like that. It's like kind of like LaCroix, like a LaCroix kind of drink, so like that helps. So I drink that when I'm taking a shower or something. It's just basically just flavored water. And drink that when I'm sitting. But also something that I had 2 weeks out was Zevia, which is you'll any grocery store will have Zevia. It's a soda that uses stevia as a sweetener, and I didn't know this until literally like 3 days before the show. Zevia is a natural sweetener. I didn't know that. Like I know it comes from a plant,
see,
but I thought the process made it artificial. essentially.
So you could have gotten away with it.
Yes, I could have gotten away with Zevia, but I mean, it's not the best tasting soda to me because I don't like stevia. Um, the flavor of stevia for me, I just don't like the flavor. Some people love it. It's just not for me. Some people, same way with so Sweet and Low and Equal. I love both of them. I think it's aspartame or something. I forget what sweetener it is exactly, but I love those. So like Chewy, for instance, right? He loves stevia, but he doesn't like Equal. Where I like Equal but don't like stevia. It just depends on your taste buds. It's like people who like cilantro. Like I love cilantro, but then there's people who hate cilantro. You know, it just depends on your taste buds. And stevia is one of those things that
Yeah,
just whenever I taste stevia, it doesn't taste very sweet at all, but it's got this flavor to it that I just don't like. So Zevia is
aspartame is the
good.
one that aspartame's in like all the sodas we drink, all the
Yeah,
zero sugar ones. That's what's in there,
yeah. So I know
and
that, but let me see.
there's like no long term clinical studies on aspartame, so we really don't know what it's doing.
I mean, we do know that it's yeah. Okay, it's sucralose. That's what I think. That's what it is. I think Equal is sucralose. Let me see. Um, I think both Sweet and Low and Equal are both the same thing, and I think they're sucralose. Dextrose with maltodextrin, aspartame. Okay, so it is aspartame. So, Sweet and Low is similar. Sweet and Low is sweeter than Equal. So in a way, I like Sweet and Low more. Really, Walmart asshole, you gotta have me sign in to see the nutrition label. So I like Sweet and Low more because it's more sweet than Equal is. Uh, okay, so one packet is less than 4 calories. Is what it says. So really, I should avoid Sweet and Low just because it's added calories. But
Yeah,
it's the ingredients. Why does none of them have ingredients on it? Let me see. Yeah, it's nutritive dextrose, saccharin, cream of tartar, and calcium silicate. So it's the nutritive dextrose that Sweet and Low is for the flavor, the sweetener, where Equal is the dextrose as well as aspartame. So I love both. It's just so Zevia has a stevia in it, which I'm just so like Zevia tastes fine, especially when I'm in prep. But when I'm not in prep, there's no way I'm gonna go out of my way to go grab Zevia when I can have regular zero sugar sodas. So
and
it did
that's
help
just
though.
also part of the quality of life because like even though they're not really doing much else, it's just like a little bit of enjoyment, like in during your day. I think I
Yeah,
have like
it
one or two a
helps
day, and like I just look forward to those meals more, even though it's the
oh
same thing I'm eating every other day.
for sure, for sure. It is a lot easier to get through the day when you have like that one soda that you look forward to, and um it's harder to get through the day when you don't have it. Like even the Zevia, like even though it's not the best tasting, I got like the creamsicle one. It wasn't like orange creamsicle, it's just regular creamsicle or whatever, like the cream soda. That helped me a lot more get through the day because I could look forward to my one soda that I got a day. That's what I
Yeah,
made sure that I only got that one soda. So that helped. Um but yeah, so now I'm able to at least get back to Equal and get back to, zero sugar supplements and all that. So it's better now at least.
yeah, and overall was a good experience, but not everyone had the experience you did. If we want to bridge into the the Logan thing we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I just want to talk briefly about that. So there was a Texas Pro that happened this weekend, and Logan Franklin competed. He got, I think it was third or something like that. I think it was third, and he fell victim to something similar to me, where I think he just wasn't what the judges were looking for that day. I think he could have totally have won. Personally, I think that Logan brought the best package up on stage. I think the guy who won, he totally deserved to win. I think it could go either way between him and Logan. I think Logan totally should have fucking beat Robert Timms. It's fucking mind-boggling that Robert beat Logan. Robert just looks like, yeah, he's got a freakishly small waist, but he totally looks like a men's open competitor. He does not look like a classic competitor. But that's just my
Yeah.
opinion. So looking at the top 4 here in this photo right here, yeah, Robert Tim's he has crazy lats. Like, I think that's like one of his best features is his lats are just fucking crazy. But I think overall, the guy who won, I could totally see him beating Logan. I just think that Logan should have won personally. I think that Logan had the best structure. He had the best classic look. He has that narrow waist. He has really good vacuum. His lats are wide. Like, he looks like he'd belong in the same realm as like C-Bum, as an Urs. Like, they have that classic look. All of them have that same classic look. But then Robert Timms just doesn't. He's just fucking massive, I feel. But the guy who won, which is fucking what's his name? Jae Hun Park. He got 15th overall at the Olympia last year. So like it just goes to show. Yeah.
I was gonna say he's like basically just getting ready to go back. Like that's like
Yeah. I mean, that's what Logan was doing too. He wanted to get his Olympia qualification, I think is what you get with the overall of this show, is the Olympia qualification. I could be wrong, but I think that's definitely what Logan is going for, is just getting back to the Olympia. So it sucks that he lost, but I think he can go back into it, hit another show in a couple weeks and look even better. Good for the guy who won. It's just, I just think that he kind of just fell victim to something similar to what I fell victim to, which is just, he just wasn't what the judges were looking for that day. And top comment, well, actually that's Men's Physique News that commented that, but there's also, let me look up, there's a couple Instagram pages that I follow that talk about bodybuilding, just the results of shows. They just post the results basically.
Well, I was gonna say Logan's vacuum beats anybody up there. I'm looking through all of them, and his vacuum is just so much better than everyone else.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I'm surprised that, yeah, they haven't been posting. I don't know why. Anyways, I don't know where I saw it. There's a page I follow. I just forget the name of it. I don't remember. Let me see if I can find the prejudging photos for. Well, there's something I read. There's a comment, but like Men's Physique and Classic Physique, we both had instances where it could have gone to anybody in the top, even like 4. It's just a matter of what the judges were looking for. Like the 4th place guy is just dice to the fucking gills. Like, does he have the best classic pose or classic look? Not necessarily, but he was insane conditioning. I think he kind of got outsized a little bit and just didn't have the best proportions in comparison to everybody else. But like, we're also talking about like the best of the best in the world here. Like, this Texas Pro is a pretty big show each year, and these guys all look phenomenal. Men's Physique was on the more controversial side to who could have won. So if you look at who won, it's Max Rep versus Max Rep, which is, what's his name? Obviously it's Max, but let me see what his actual name is. So Jeremiah Maxey. Yeah. So it was him versus let me see.
Clarence.
Yeah, whoever got second. So like looking at,
his name's Clarence McSpadden.
Yeah, Maxey or whatever posted the top 2. So when you have an instance like that where you have 2, maybe 3 guys up there after the first call out, that typically means they know who's going to be third, and after that they know who's going to be third, fourth, fifth, sixth. But top 2 were pretty close, so it could have gone either way. Personally, I think conditioning wise, I think the guy who got second had better conditioning overall, but I think the guy who got first had a better front pose. Back pose, second place fucking destroyed him. So I'm surprised in that sense that the first place guy won. But I think the front pose guy whoever's in second, the front pose for the second guy, he could have done better with his pose. His pose is not very good. His front pose is not very good. I think that kind of hindered him because he was hiding his back lat. If you look at the guy who won second and you look at his front pose, you'll see that his back lat is kind of hidden, where the guy who won, his lats are way more prominent. And also the guy who got second, his arm, his outer arm, like those guys pose the way I do. They're lefty posers. I think it's lefty. I don't know what you want to call it, if it's lefty or righty, but with the left arm being relaxed with your right hand on your hip, his arm was definitely extended way too far out. Like he was definitely pushing his arm outwards, which kind of made him look a little weird with his overall
Yeah.
physique. So that kind of played a role there, I think. So I think personally it could have gone either way. That's what's so hard, is that like it just comes down to what the judges preferred. And again, photos can only do so much justice. You need to see people on stage in order to know where someone's at in the competition. And that's also kind of what I fell victim to too. Like I don't think I look nearly as good in photos as I did on stage, in my opinion. Like there's a photo I posted. I don't know if you saw it, stuff. It was like when I was on the diagonal with actually like good lighting in the back, and everything was popping. You know, my waist looked small back
Yeah.
there, even though I was relaxed. You know, my arms looked bigger. It was just the lighting was different. So like that, you know, the photos and the lighting kind of, I fell victim a little bit more to that than like not showing up. You know, also not showing up the way I wanted to. But I think that I look better on stage than I do in photos. So we can only base it off the photos. And you talk to anybody who's gone to shows and stuff like that, and when you see people on stage, it's completely different than seeing people in person. And I was talking to someone yesterday about that, and he was saying like, I may not look it. He's like, it may not look it, but Chris Bumstead is just light years ahead of people. He's like, I went to the Olympia last year and you could see. And I'm like, no, you can tell in photos. He's fucking
Yeah.
light years ahead of people. But even on stage, he's like twice the size of all the dudes up there, better conditioning, and half the size of his waist. Like his waist is like half the size of everybody else's. It's just he's in a whole nother league. So seeing someone on stage will look different than seeing people in person, you know? And that's what's also upsetting about my show, was that because all these guys are on the older side and they just happen to present something that the judges were looking for. When I saw them backstage, I truly felt I could have beat all of them because they were all older. They all had wider waists. You know, they were more boxish built. And like that guy who just beat me in both classes, you could see how skinny he was backstage. It was just he just didn't have any any muscle maturity or thickness really, or density. So it's like when he beat me, I was just like, fucking really? Like it's like you should have seen him backstage. Like it would have been night and day, but it is what it is. So it's just, this is the game for you. This is, you guys are seeing it you know, through the eyes of, you know, me now competing in it, and then also seeing results of shows that you see the politics kind of involved, you know. So
And I was gonna
it is
say,
what it
like,
is.
this is also your first two shows. Like, in year from now, 2 years from now, when you've got way more under your belt, like having these conversations are gonna look way different because you're gonna be in just a different spot, and the competition's gonna be, you know, like you're gonna see competition differently than you did now.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when I win, like my first show, like that's gonna feel so good. I was expecting to win this show, which sucks. We just didn't show up the way we wanted to. But at the same time, it's like you got to have a positive outlook, you know. And as sad as I am about the placing, I'm not upset. It is what it is. The judges made their decision. Nothing I can do about that. You know, it's not like a team sport where you can be upset with the performance of the team. You can't really be. I'm not upset with what we brought to stage. Could we have done it differently? Could we have come in better? Yes. But also, like you said, it's my second show. You know, all these guys I'm competing against have done many shows and they've gotten it dialed in, you know? So, like 7 shows, what I will bring in 7 shows from learning from all those previous 6 shows, I'll be able to bring an even better and better look every single time I step on stage. So 7 shows in will be 100%, a million percent different physique than I did to my second show. You know, so that's what I'm holding on to. It's just like I got time. Time is on my side, and that's something my coach said. He was like, "Time is on your side. You got plenty of time. All the guys you're competing against, I could see it, are way older than you. You know, you got way more time. Everybody I was competing against is something that was said was, I'm not gonna say who said it, but so everybody else competing against on stage, they're all past their prime, and none of them are going to make pro. They're all old. They're all like for competing wise, they're all older. Chances are none of them are going to make pro, but I'm young enough to absolutely make pro in my lifetime, for sure. So it's just a matter of putting in the time and sticking to it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say even the people who like not just like masters or whatever, the people who are have done 7+ shows or whatever, like even the people in true novice, like those are still older dudes starting later. Like you're just so much
Mm-hmm.
ahead of the curve in terms of the starting point. So just got to keep riding that.
Yeah, see, the guy I lost to, his name Donnie. He was in True Novice. I don't know what his age was, but like that was his first ever show, and he just ended up just being a little bit leaner than I was. But also, like the other thing too, with a lot of these older guys, like they put in so much more time to lose the weight than I did. Like a lot of these guys competed in the Charlotte Pro, which was April. I started my prep in April. So like if I had
Yeah,
more time and put in more effort, not really more effort, but like if I'd put more time into it and I wanted to like really trim the fat down, we could have started prep January, for victory, and then like really gotten less and less fat, but I needed to put on the size. And another thing that I felt kind of victim to is that because these guys were all older, they had a lot more muscle maturity, where
yeah,
my muscle's there, but they've had the same muscle for 15 years, so like that's muscle maturity for you. They could stop training and their muscle would still be there 2 months from now. It's just that's muscle density, it's muscle maturity, stuff like that. So I also kind of fell victim to that. But over time, because I'm just 25, over time, muscle maturity will increase, muscle density will increase, my overall size will increase, everything will get better over these coming years.
well
So it's just sticking to it.
it's like when you like I don't know, slap somebody on the belly when they're younger and they have belly, it kind of just gives way. But you slap somebody on the tummy and they're like in their 50s, 60s, and it's like a fucking rock. Like even if they don't work
Yeah.
out, it's just all that like packed in stuff. And so if you're working out and now working out for a decade plus, that's just like solid like material right there.
Even with like a beer belly, like even guys with a beer
Yeah,
belly that's
no,
all fat,
exactly.
it's hard. Yeah. It's
Yep.
all just like you said, it's all packed in there. So like the muscle maturity plays a role as well. And that's why like doing it now is important versus doing it later because I think my coach went pro at 30 or something. So like if I aim to hit pro by 30, that's 5 years. I still have 5 more years of competing at regional and national shows before I get pro, hypothetically. Like if I that was my goal is 2 years. I would love to make pro within the next 2 years if possible. But it's just a matter of putting in the time, putting in the effort, and learning. Really, that's the biggest thing. Was just like that's the biggest takeaway from the show was learning how my body responded to prep, how my body responded to every aspect of it, including the water cut. These regional shows, we didn't do too much of a water cut, just vitamin C. But if we were to dabble in like diuretics, like I'd come in even more peeled. Like that's the other thing I also got to consider too is that I only took vitamin C. I didn't take anything harsh for diuretics. Some of these guys on this stage probably took some harsh ass diuretics that really fucked them up and will put on a ton of weight after the show. I
Yeah.
put on, I mean, even just on vitamin C and, you know, just doing a basic water cut in that sense, I still put on probably 5, 6 pounds of water right after the show, let alone if I did a diuretic. I mean, C-Bum was talking about how he started diuretic like 4 or 5 weeks out from a show to start shedding all the water. Like, you know what I mean? It's like these guys are taking diuretics way longer and way harsher diuretics than I was taking. All I was taking vitamin C. That's over the counter. That's a natural diuretic. So
Yeah.
we didn't lose a shit ton of water. We lost maybe like 4 or 5 pounds, maybe 6 pounds at most, probably of just actual water. Where if I took a diuretic, I probably could have lost like 12 pounds of water.
And
So
just been so much leaner.
yeah, exactly. We didn't want to push the diuretic envelope. We didn't want to push that aspect of it. I mean, even national shows, like I know athletes who do kind of something similar. Like they'll just take like either vitamin C or like Expel, which is on the more natural side. It's a little harsher than vitamin C, but take Expel, take a micro dose, like a tiny, tiny dose of a diuretic prior to a show just to get that last bit of water out. and then step on stage. Like still not even touching it for like national shows. A lot of these like some of these athletes that I know of aren't even touching really harsh diuretics for a national show, let alone a regional show. But then these guys who are on the older side probably had to take diuretics, like harsher diuretics to step on stage. And like that could have been it. Like it could have been just literally just if I just took a diuretic, I could have won. But at the same
Yeah.
time, there wasn't any need. I didn't need to. There was no point of pushing that when I have so much more time to get it more dialed in for later shows. And then when we step on national stage or pro stage or something like that, that's when we'll start dabbling in diuretics to make sure that I come in as peeled as I possibly can. So
Yeah,
it's
I
just a
mean,
matter of experience.
it's also part of the longevity game. Like, you're in your first two shows, there's no reason to overload everything that you do and take because you want to, know what it's like step by step. If you did everything all at once, you're like, you have the potential just, it's like why the first cycle is never a bunch of compounds. It's like you need the
Mm-hmm.
time to figure out all the individual steps and then get your way all the way.
Yeah, it's less is more. And if
Yeah.
we can figure out how my body responds to every little aspect of prep over the span of a few shows, then we can really put all that information into, like, let's say like show 4, for instance. If like we still learned something from show 3, didn't do the best, show 4 we'll be able to be like, all right, we learned all of this. This is how you respond to this, and this. Let's dial it in. Boom. Let's nail all of this. Show up to show 4, and I could have like a night and day difference in my physique for that show, for instance, and just win. In each show is an accumulation of knowledge gained and experience gained and applying it to that show, and you learn more and more and more and more. And that's why, like, that guy who won the show, he was like, it's my 7th show and I haven't come close to winning. It's because he's learning every single show. And he's
Yep.
only been competing since he turned 34. He was 34 when he started, he's 38 now. So like it is harder for him to get more dialed in. And this guy Noah sent me a photo, and he's like, I know it's not your placing that you wanted, but look at the difference here. And there's a guy who competed in the Olympia in classic physique 6 years ago. He was losing men's physique in regional shows, and he showed the difference. So it's like even just 6 years, plays a gigantic role if you put in the time and the effort. And now he's on the biggest stage in the world in classic, where originally he started out getting decimated on men's physique. So like I'm kind of in that boat now. So I just got to put in the time and the effort and get where I want to go. It's just doing it now and keep my head high. That's what's so hard. It's just
Yeah.
accepting it, like it sucks so bad because you put in so much effort. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. I really just fucking really got depleted, really put in a lot of effort, so much stress on my family, my wife, and then just to lose, it sucks. It's like, why, what was the point? But then I love competing. I miss prep already. I miss stepping on stage already. And I just got to stick to it. And I learned from it. My coach learned from it. Everybody learned from it. So I think the next prep is only going to be even easier. If we could put on some size, lose some fat, ideally, over the next however many months, next prep will be even easier. And then it'll be easier. Every single prep will be easier and easier and easier. So
Listen,
yeah.
there's a grand total of one instance in men's bodybuilding when quitting because of not winning was acceptable and allowed, and that's Lavroni getting second year after year after year after year.
Oh my
So
gosh. Yeah.
that's the only acceptable time to do it. So until you do that at the Olympia, you're not allowed to use it as an excuse to stop.
Yeah.
Because he had
I
what,
feel
six
him.
second places, something like that.
I think Jay Cutler had the most second places for the Olympia. I think that's 4.
Yeah,
I think it was 4 was the most for the Olympia. But I think overall, yes, he was doing so many shows each year. I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. He did so many fucking shows. He was averaging
yeah.
like 3 to 5 shows a year. 1994, he did like, what was that, 9? That's 8 shows. He did 8 shows in 1994.
Jesus.
But Mr. Olympia, he got second in 92, fifth in 93, third in 94, second in 95, third in 96, fourth in 97, fourth in 98, fourth in 99, second in 2000, third in 2001, second in 2002, sixth in 2003, I guess he did it again in 2016, got 17th, and then he did the 2018 Arnold Classic Australia, and that was it. But 2003, getting 6th, he kind of threw in the towel after that.
Yeah, like that's the only acceptable time to call it quits because of not
Yeah,
making it.
he got robbed so many fucking times, dude. He has such a good physique.
Yep.
It's a damn shame.
So
I
until
wish
you
he
reach that
could have
point,
been.
you can't use that.
Yeah, he had such a good fucking physique. He got so robbed, but he also looks. I mean, even though he lost a lot of his muscle and gained a lot of fat and all that, he still looks really good for his age. Like if you look at a recent photo, like there's a shirtless one. If you look up Kevin Levrone, it's black and gray, and like even though he doesn't look like what he used to on stage or competing, he still looks amazing. But yeah, looking at him on stage and looking at him in photos and shit, he had a phenomenal physique. Next to Ronnie, I think it's just size. I think Ronnie was just massive, 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 massive compared to Kevin, and that's why Ronnie kept beating Kevin. But also, Kevin was he beat Ronnie for the longest time. He was beating
Yeah.
Ronnie for many years, until Ronnie just showed up one day, and that's the day he won his Olympia, and that was it. After that, but yeah, looking at the 2000 Mr. Olympia. I mean, come on, Ronnie versus Kevin. Come on, that's not even fair. Ronnie was in his own fucking league. He's like the C-bum of men's open. He was in his own fucking league. Um, yeah, like that's fucking ludicrous. I'm looking at the back photo from 2000 Olympia. That is absurd.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right
Uh,
now.
yeah, absurd. It's kind of fuzzy, at least on my screen. It's like pixelated, but and then here's him versus Dexter Jackson. Yeah, I think he beats Dexter Jackson personally. A little softer in the arms, but better everywhere else. Um, yeah, he had the best. Yeah, see the 2018 Auto Classic, he came in soft, not too much abs, stuff like that. It's just he just was he I think he just wanted to compete again. I think, but like looking at him in the off season, fucking absurd.
Yeah, you can definitely see the aging on him in the 18 Arnold. Like
Yeah,
he's not. I mean, he's still got great physique, but
oh for
you
sure,
know,
especially for his age.
definitely doesn't have that look he had.
Yeah, it kind of. I mean, but that's okay. I mean, that's just what happens with age, and he also like he took that's 13 years difference. That's a long ass time.
Yeah,
Or is it 15? I think it might be 15 years. That's a long ass time between shows. Uh, but seeing him on stage back in his heyday, fucking, he should have won the Olympia at least once, especially before
at least
Ronnie stepped
once.
up there. Yeah, he definitely deserved it. I also think that Flex Wheeler deserved better than he got. But at the same time, Flex Wheeler just bodybuilded because he just had the genetics for it. That's the only reason why. Yes, he's second, eighth, fourth, second, third, seventh. That was all Mr. Olympia. Um, so I think he should have done better in the men's Olympia. I think or Mr. Olympia. I think he should have probably won maybe 98, 99, best look. And Ronnie thinks that he should have won too. He said Flex Wheeler was like if he could have had any physique, it would have been Flex's. He
Yeah,
thinks was the best physique up there. He thinks that Flex even beat him. He's like, I just truly think that he was unbeatable. But
but
it is
then
what it is.
Ronnie was Ronnie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ronnie is just he just eventually pulled
But
ahead and just was on his own.
Ronnie was even the story of failing again and again and again because he was like what 30 something when he won his first O. Like
Yeah, let me see his placings.
because he was not doing like all that well. I mean, he's still professional, but like you know what I mean.
Let me see. I'm looking up his yeah. So like he was placing pretty rough for the longest time. 15th at the 1994 Mr. Olympia. 1995 he got 11th. And then he said, I think it was the 96 where he got 6th. that he was like, wow, I could actually win this.
Yeah.
And then he got 9th, 97 Olympia, and then 98 he got first, and that was it. It was reigning. He was a reigning champ up until 2006. 2006 he got second. He tried again. That's when Jake beat him. Tried again in 2007, got fourth, and that was it. That's when he threw in the towel. He went out swinging. You know, he went out trying to do his best, and just once he got fourth, he was like, all right, there's no more after that.
Yeah, but he had won so many times, like that's okay at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, he had 8. Is it 8 7 Mr. Olympias?
It's
7 or 8?
no, it's 8. It's 8.
Okay, it's 8. Okay. Yeah, so he had 8. That's tied for the most. Like you can't get any more than that. So I mean
And
there's
that's like not even so like we've talked about how like when you say or you do like men's physique or men's classic physique at the O, it's like you say the classic physique Mr. Olympia. Like you don't like with Ronnie it was like no, this was Mr. O. Like there was no like this was the one division. Like
yeah, there was
so
originally just Mr. Olympia. That was it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So like
Now
his
they
claim to
have
fame is like even more I don't know, like it's higher than what it is for other people, you know?
yeah. See, like what also people do nowadays too is that they say they're an Olympian if they've competed at the
Yep.
Mr. Olympia. And it's like I get that, but also last year there was like almost 100 guys competing in men's physique at the Olympia. It's like, I get it, but you're among 90. I think it was like upper 80s or something. You're among 80 something other guys who all say that they're Olympians. You
Yeah,
know,
that's kind of
but
watered
then
down at that point.
yeah, it does get watered down. The pro card even is very watered down, which we've talked about. It gets more and more watered down each year, but the Olympia has gotten watered down as well. But at the same time, it also kind of shows like because there's so many competitors, is that much harder to win. So it is a bit more impressive to win against 80 something guys versus like against 15 guys. But you could also look at it like if there's only 15 guys up there or like 20 guys, those are the 20 of the best, where the other 60 something shouldn't even really be there. You know, it's like
Exactly.
I think it just depends on how you look at it. It's like, do you find it more valuable to beat just 20 guys who all looked phenomenal, or 20 guys who look phenomenal and then 60 guys who don't really belong, you know? So it just depends on
See,
how you look at it. But
my bio would be Mr. Olympia athlete, then in parentheses, the other guy.
yeah, the other one of 60 others
Yeah.
who didn't even place in any of the call outs. Because there's, I think, like 4 or 5 call outs, and each call out's 7 guys. So, like, you couldn't even be, like, called out. Like, most of the guys who compete at the Olympia aren't even called out. Like,
Post a picture that's super zoomed in and grainy because it's from the call out and you're just standing off to the side and you cropped it.
yeah, you're like, aha, there it is. You can see the Olympia logo right there. There's me.
Yeah.
You'll have your solo time on stage, so you would get solo shots, but, like,
No, I know.
yeah, most of them don't even get called out for comparisons. Like, they're like, yeah, get the fuck out of here, dude. You're done for the day. Like, if you don't get called out, I don't even think there's finals for you. I don't even think you show up for finals. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but you you just stand there like during the call outs. Like it's you know how humiliating
Essentially,
that's
yeah.
gotta be? Like you just stand there.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, I'm not even sure if they what here's the thing though. I think that also if you're in a big enough show where you wouldn't even get called out, I think that they wouldn't even have you stand on the stage in the diagonal. I think.
Yeah.
Because the shows I've been to, there hasn't been enough people to not call anybody out. Victory Classic, I think they didn't call out anybody past top 5, but like for my class, there was a 6th competitor, so they called out 6. But I think at Victory, I don't think they called out 6th or 7th. But for any shows that have so many guys they can't even call you out, even after 4 call outs, I can't imagine that they would call you to the stage just to not call you out to the front.
That's
You
true.
know,
But
like
it's
that.
also to have like substance behind there because the backdrop for like the show just looks better when there's a bunch of dudes standing around. Like it's almost
Yeah,
like
fair.
a second audience effect.
Yeah, let me see if I could look up like. Let me see if I could look up like Mr. Olympia men's physique final, like if I could see like the final shots. Okay, maybe there is an 80. Maybe there was like 40 to 50. Maybe it was the Art Classic that had that many. One of them had like 80 something competitors. Looking at, yeah, see, so like this is men's physique and classic, and there's tons of guys behind them, but it's hard to say how many there
Yeah,
are.
but that's what I mean.
But
Like, you just have those people behind you for like that second, like, just onlooker effect.
yeah, it does kind of add more to the stage. But yeah, it's just so I mean that could be all the men's physique competitors. Now that I see that, there's like 40 to 50. But it would make sense if they didn't even have you go to the stage if you're not even going to get called out. If they know that you're not placing in top 4 call outs or top 3 call outs, whatever it is, then it would make sense if they don't call you out. But I mean, it is what it is. It's just it is getting a bit watered down. Man, look at the 2013 men's physique Olympia. It's fucking crazy. They're just standing
Just
there.
how different.
There's no
Yeah, it's
there's no men's physique
well,
pose. They're just standing there.
2013. That was pretty early on in men's physique, isn't it?
I think it started 2012. I think.
So that's what I mean. Like, it's still such an early thing. It's like men's classic physique. There's still so many like new poses brought in every year that like
Yeah,
aren't used before, and it just keeps evolving.
yeah, yeah. Looking at the old men's or Mr. Olympia, I mean men's physique. Man, they look like they honestly don't even look like pro level now for men's physique. Like they got like national quality, maybe if that. Like they'd probably win a regional. I'm not even sure how they place at a national. That's fucking crazy. Let me see. I gotta pull it back up here. Yeah, looking at the men's physique guys now, it's a fucking different world. But
Yep.
yeah, Aaron Parks now is the one leading it, at least from last year. I think he deserved it personally. But yeah, so I mean, as far as where we're at now, we just gotta stick to the plan and get dialed in. And like today, I got legs. I'm gonna do legs later. And now that I have more food in my system, I'm gonna start destroying basically every single body part I go to the gym for.
Yep.
Because before
You
it's
got
like it
the
was like
actual carbs.
yeah, I got 10 to 20 reps in me for every set last, during prep, but I had only a couple rice cakes for the longest time for pre-workout. So I just didn't have much energy, didn't have much strength. But now that I have 60 grams of either grits or cream of rice going into my workout, it's I have so much more strength, so much more energy. So like today's legs, I'm gonna make sure I eat at least hour and a half out to actually training because I'm gonna train that
and
hard.
And I was going to say, strength has always been a strong suit of yours, anyways. Like, just being able to move the way that you do.
Oh, especially legs, dude. Like that's the one thing I'm
Mm-hmm.
like very confident in is like my strength in my legs is fucking solid. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would not be surprised. Like leg press, especially. Like I could destroy leg press, but it just takes so long to rack and unrack their weights. I don't even bother. But hack squat today, I'm aiming to get at least 3 plates on hack squat. For a solid like 8 to 9 good reps is what I'm aiming for. I don't know how heavy that hack squat's going to be because we're going to try the new one that the gym got. I don't know how heavy it's going
Yeah,
to
the
be,
under one.
but yeah, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to get a video of it, and I'm just feeling strong as fuck. And that, dude, I was so surprised I got 4 plates on that incline press at Vanarchy. Like I got like 7 solid reps, and my coach was like, "Oh, don't go for PRs. Like, it's not the goal right now." And I'm like, "I know that, but like I was expecting 10. I only got 7."
Yeah.
But yeah, I got 14 for 3 plates prior to that. And I was like, "Fuck!" I'm feeling strong.
And then
It
you
was
got
pretty
humbled.
sick. Yeah, coach tried to humble me. I'm like, "Nah, it's fine."
Yeah.
Like I didn't like go for like 4 or 5 or something. Like I aimed for 10 and just fell short because I got 14 for 3. And prior to that, I stopped at 16 for 2 plates. So I thought that 4 plates I could easily get 10. But then I like lifted it, and I think kind of getting it off the machine was kind of like half my energy was gone from that. So I was like, I'll just go for as much as I can and just press it out. And just, I failed at 7 and got like half a rep for 8. So, but I'm
Yeah.
going back to my 8 to 14, 8 to 16 reps, depending on the movements. So that'll feel nice to kind of push a bit more weight now.
That's why I love
So we'll
working
see.
out with somebody else to get that push up and not have to spend the strength just getting the weight up. Like, especially when I do like my shoulder overhead or something like that, getting the dumbbells up takes, X amount of strength already. So that's why I like
Yeah.
having somebody there to help get it up, and then I can just focus on pure reps.
Yeah. For me, it's the chest stuff that like I lose a lot of strength from. Shoulders, I don't really do anything that like I lose a lot of strength from, just unracking it or anything like that. But I mean, if I did like barbell shoulder press, especially, it's a lot more effort to get it unracked and start lifting it. But chest is where I have that problem, especially like anything machine based, like machine incline stuff like that. Like I did, getting it off the rack can waste a lot of energy. But I also just only
Yeah.
ever lift alone, so I we've talked about it, but I still do believe that like lifting alone, I'm able to generally track a bit better, what I truly failed at and what I can improve upon and see the progress over time. Because if somebody was spotting me, it's hard to say how much weight they lifted. If I got 12 reps this week, 12 reps next week, but both times were spotted by someone, I can't say if it's for sure 12 reps each week because they could have lifted more one week and then less the next week. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But if I'm by myself, I'll truly know like, okay, I failed. There's no assistance. I got 12 reps this week, 13 reps this week. So I truly did actually go up a rep because it kept the same form, same range of motion, same everything. I just gained it an extra rep. So that's why I do like lifting by myself a lot of the time. But when I'm visiting you guys, that's why I like to train with other people to mix it up.
Yeah. And if I ever end up down there, you can't really escape me because I'll be working out with you. So
Oh, dude, we'll hit all the gyms. We'll hit Fitness Factory. We'll hit what's it called?
I
Crush the
can't wait to go back to
Coliseum.
Fitness Factory.
Yeah, Fitness Factory is a lot of fun,
That
especially when if
I
it'd be just be like you and me. We'll hit something like more concentrated, like a back day or something there. And then same with Crush the Coliseum. If we go for like a specific day there, especially like legs or like a chest day or back day, it's a lot of fun there. So you
yeah,
gotta check that out as well next time you come down. Be
hell
a
yeah.
good time.
Planning probably either April or February, if I'm being honest. So
Yeah, I mean either way, we'll do it. If it's February, I might be bulking. April, I might be starting my prep, or could be deep in my prep at that point. So we'll see. But either way, trying to keep my abs. That's my goal. Next time you see me, I'm still trying to keep abs. So
yep.
we'll see. But
All right,
cool.
y'all. Well, thanks for stopping by. We're back on a good schedule again, so we will be seeing you
Yep.
guys next week.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. See ya.